start considering, could Greg Williams be the guy, and could he really lead us over? Finally lead us over to at least a better season. Because I hate to see the Browns only win 2 games this year. And so I say I feel bad for Hugh Jackson, and because I think Hugh really had the right mindset, but having an 0-16 season just don't look good on your record. And I think they had to move on from Hugh today. I definitely understand why they had to move on from Hugh Jackson. It just had to happen. So, on that note, pray for Cleveland. Play for the Cavaliers. That's another one I'm interested to see. Kevin Love is out. I mean, this team's 0-6, and we knew this was happening. But to be honest with you, I thought it wasn't going to happen because I thought there was going to be mediocrity, but Kevin Love is an all-star. Like, when LeBron left, he left them with nothing. He left them with a depleted roster. Granted, he left them with a completed roster as well, but because even the year when they went back to Cleveland, Kyrie Irving wasn't there. At least you got Colin Saxon and you have other people. The roster is left in a lot better shape than when he left it the first time, if you ask me. And he left you with he left you with a couple of shooters. He left you with a couple of people who can play and defend. It was a lot better looking than what it was the first time. So I'm interested to see who's going to make an adjustment. And I understand to a degree you might want to make that move and get rid of Tyronn Lue. And I think if Tyronn Lue was really just more of he was there. He wasn't really to be the head coach. I mean, we all knew the Browns running the show, calling the strings and everything like that. But NBA champion, I would love to see him get another job in the NBA or college basketball and show that he really is a coach. Just like I said about Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra, I never thought he could coach until now. He put his teams in the playoff position. He don't have the talent that he used to have when he had LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. But what I will say about that is he's showing that he can coach. He's been nominated for Coach of the Year, I think maybe once or twice in the last 3, 4, 5 years. So this young man has proved to people that he don't need superstars to get into the playoffs. And he's compete. I mean, they went 6 last year with the Philadelphia 76ers. 6 or 5 or 6. I think it was 6. So, to my point, I think Tyronn Lue going to get another job. I think Tyronn Lue going to probably go back to being an assistant for a while. He might go to the Clippers because he got ties with Doc Rivers. Yeah, or you never know if the Luke Walton thing don't work out in L.A., it makes you wonder if Tyronn Lue going to be around. Because one thing about the NBA that's different to the NFL, I find, is that they will hire coaches that had bad stints again in the NBA before they hire coaches that had bad stints in the NFL again. Like Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen was the head coach for the Oakland Raiders, and he never got a shot again. I mean, Hugh Jackson was the head coach of the Oakland Raiders at one point in time, and he never got. He had a shot again because what he was able to do with Andy Dalton. I think, to be honest with you, if you ask me, Hugh should have held the brakes a little while. He should have stayed in Cincinnati, and I think a job like, San Francisco or the Giants or trying to think some other jobs that came open in the last couple of years. Even if he still stayed there now, and look how Dirk Cutter's career right now going with Tampa Bay, how he's trying to save it. You see what, I'm about to get on my studs and duds right quick. One thing that I noticed about Tampa Bay, right, Dirk Cutter really trying to save his career, and that's why he got put in Ryan Fitzpatrick. He has to save his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because it just that's not acceptable what's going on right now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not to say they started off so hot and now all of a sudden they find themselves again at the bottom of the division. While they gave only thing that you can really say that we gave probably the second best team and probably the top 5 team in the NFL their first loss of the year in their house, game 1, day 1, and ever since then they won 6 straight. So I mean, you can't really, that's the only thing you can hold up to your head. Y'all defeated them, y'all defeated the champs, but when it came down to Monday night, y'all lost. So that make you wonder a little bit. But I'm about to talk about my studs and duds. So, let's because I was going to talk about college football and everything. But, I'm going to tell you something. College football this week, I mean, look, the week that we about to come into, guys, is about to be over and done. You know, for today only for today, I'm not will talk about the NCAA college football. Just for the fact of the matter is, I want to wait until after the college poll come out, and then we get more details and juice with it when it come down to the NFL. I mean, get closer and closer to everything coming up. All right, so let's go ahead. Studs and duds of the week. This is my new segment every week after week. This is week 8. So let's talk about the studs. Of course, the New Orleans Saints who went back to Minnesota, handled their business 30-20. We will have a whole segment about them in a little bit, so I'm not going to go into detail. I'm going to still give it to the Rams because the Rams still find themselves undefeated in football. They got a date with the Saints this weekend. Also, Kansas City, who was very, very a tough game with the Denver Broncos. They won their game. And I'll give it to the Carolina Panthers after they dominated the Baltimore Ravens this past weekend. Truly one of the best defenses in the league. 2 back-to-back weeks. Feel bad for Baltimore. They're starting to get exposed defensively. My duds of the week will have to be Ty Montgomery. Ty Montgomery, who just said, I'm going to do me this week. And he fumbled the ball, and then that's ultimately cost them the ball game against the LA Rams. My another dud this week will have to be Jameis Winston. 10 interceptions in 4 games. Now, if y'all remember anything that I talked about earlier this year was I felt that when the Saints made the trade for Teddy Bridgewater, I felt day one that Teddy Bridgewater was over Jameis Winston. Now, I got a lot of controversy for that because they said that he's a backup technically. Screw all that. Because if you look at, and the only thing that people will have negative to say about Teddy Bridgewater, he could not push the ball down the field. But Jameis Winston, there's no excuse to say you thrown 10 interceptions in 4 games. Your mind is not on the right perspective. I think he's the youngest to get to 70 interceptions in his career. I don't know. I think almost 6. I got to go back and look at that stat. But something's not right going on over there. And even to the point where I looked at ESPN this morning talking about trade talks, I don't think you trade him because that was the number 1 pick in the draft at one point, once upon a time. But I think he's on the hot sheet and he's on a short lease for this franchise. So we got to pay attention to Jameis Winston. Jacksonville lose to Philly this week. That's another one of my duds this week. I'm disappointed in Jacksonville. They lost 4 out their last 5 games. The Vikings, it was a dud because they had a lot of momentum in this game, and then the Saints somehow, some way kept finding ways to get the ball back and give it to Drew Brees and that offense did enough to get by this past weekend. Also, and I will give it to the Browns just because they fired their coaching staff and all the dramas that they go through the last couple of days. Actually, I got through the studs and duds, but I didn't get through the maybes. So since the music goes, let's just talk about the maybes. Seattle's starting to find life all of a sudden. Chicago had a big win over the Jets this past weekend, and Philly trying to get back after they defeated Jacksonville, trying to get back in the creeping and crawling back in the mix of the NFC East so far. So these are some things that I'm very interested to see what's going to happen right now in football the next couple of weeks with some teams. So that's talk. I mean, I'm definitely cool with that. So I don't know. It's just a lot going on in football right now. So it's a lot to discuss. I don't have a lot of time to discuss it all. But on that note, so we were second lining Sunday night when the Saints went back, and ain't no miracle bit. It ain't going to be no miracle bit. Saints handled their business 30-20 over the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings offensively, I mean, it's really what it is. And when I watched some of Minnesota earlier in the year, there's so much. There's only 2 guys on offense that's going to beat you, and that's going to be 14 and that's going to be 19. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. 2 guys that's probably the 2 best players on that offensive side of the ball. They make plays. I can't sit here and lie to you, but how much longer can that team really rely on them? Now, granted, Latavius Murray actually had a decent game, but I know no Dalvin Cook. They drafted Dalvin Cook to come in to be the replacement, but that never really did happen. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the Saints. I was impressed, from everything that they did do this past weekend with the with the Minnesota Vikings to, now you find yourself probably you second in the conference. This weekend, let me tell you something, man, just to throw it out there, the Saints and LSU playing these undefeateds with so much on the line mid-season. I mean, I know it's two different worlds, but playoff position is live in both leagues right now. LSU is still fighting to keep their playoff spot. The Saints are fighting to have the number one playoff spot in the conference. So, it'll be nice to get on the road to Atlanta, go through New Orleans. So I'm interested to see, but these are some things that we got to pay attention to. I'm telling you. So let's talk about the game from the other night. 30-20, let's say, was your final score. Drew Brees went 16 for 23, 120, one TD and one interception. Kirk Cousins went 31 for 44, 359, two TDs and one interception. They throwing the ball almost 50 times, guys. Almost 50 times in this game. And it's a lot, man. I think it's a lot more than what we are expecting to see. Breaking news: the Seahawks just cut Brandon Marshall. I just read that on the phone. But like I said, it's that's too many times, and I don't think you're gonna be able to play playoff football without truly a good established run game. I mean, 56 yards ain't bad, but if you had another split with somebody else having at least 50, okay, maybe we working with something. But I don't know how good this team's defense ain't what it used to be. And one thing about the Saints I'm not too impressed of, it takes us too long on defensively to get going and get off the field. That's something that you got to stop. Because what if the Rams got to come back in to New Orleans in the NFC Championship game? They're not going to wait for you to get started. You got to punch them in the mouth first. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, but I was very impressed. Marcus Davenport, I think 4 sacks on the year. He had 2 sacks in this game. Starting to have a coming out party. I mean, shout out to Marcus. He is balling. I think that raw talent, they starting to groom it, and the more they groom it, the better he's going to become, he's going to be. So, it's very interesting to see what's going to happen in these next couple of weeks with the New Orleans Saints. I'm very proud of this team. This team is playing at a high level right now. But I think, there's still some things I want to see. There was no Ben Watson presence in this game. No true number 2 receiver in this game either. I think still Traquan Smith is coming along slowly, but where's Cameron Meredith? We was all big about Cameron Meredith. Once again, I know he's coming along slowly too, but we're going to need people like this late in this run. So now, remember last week I said they are 1-0 in the playoffs. They're officially 2-0 in the playoffs in my little playoff segment. This is the hardest part of the season. I told my mother the other day, I said, if they're going to lose, they can't lose back-to-back games right now because it's too close and too tight in the conference for them to lose back-to-back games. So this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. So I've been very impressed with the New Orleans Saints this past weekend, what they was able to do to keep their record going and keep it alive. And 6 straight game. Remember last year they had 8 straight wins. The Rams stopped it in California. Can they beat the Rams to make it 7 straight wins this week and then go on to Cincinnati the following week to play the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati? So that's going to probably be the storyline. That's my biggest storyline. They stopped their winning streak last year. Can the Rams stop it again? Or will the Saints extend it to 7 games going to Cincinnati on the road the following weekend? Very interested to see. I mean, this is going to be the best part of football for the Saints because now we're after Cincinnati. You got to play Atlanta. You got to play Philadelphia. You got to play Atlanta. No, you got to play Philadelphia. I think Tampa Bay, then Atlanta, then the Cowboys, and then you finally see the team that you swept 3 times you beat 3 times in the year last year, the Carolina Panthers, and they're playing some good football right now. They playing some good football. And I think when they know this game means a lot to them because they know they lost 3 times in the calendar year to the Saints. Just like how the Saints felt about they lost twice to the Minnesota Vikings last year. They lost 3 times last year in the year of 2017, and they lost at the beginning of 2018. They lost 3 times. And I know that's going to mean a lot. They don't want to lose 5 times in the matter of the same type of calendar football year. So these are things you got to get prepared for, and wins like this give you more confidence. And to me, I think now I want to see if they're gonna make adjustments, especially at that nickel spot. PJ Williams really struggled bad. I think people are gonna start paying attention